So I heard you guys played a lore game.
You weren't here for Know Your Lore.
I was not here for
Well,
Know Your Lore.
we're gonna play Know Your Lore right
Okay.
now, James.
Hold on.
All right.
Okay.
It's basically just Leah yelling a lot.
No,
Yeah, so we're
no,
changing it this
We're
week.
changing the rules.
Leah's
a little
breaking all the
bit.
rules. So we're gonna do a
Okay,
game.
let me explain the rules
Please
while
do.
you find the
All
lore. Okay, so last week on episode 7 of IGN Arena, we tried out this game where Mitch reads the lore of a Dota character, and then we were supposed to guess it, except for only I guessed it last week.
Leah just yelled
I
various
was just-
characters' names.
So
I was
this
trying to
week-
think about it, and Leah's just like,
So this
yeah.
This time, I'm going to read the lore entry in its entirety, and then you all get a second to think about it, and then you get one guess each.
So we'll start with Brian this week, and we'll go around.
Okay.
So I'll
Okay.
get full punishment for last week.
Okay, and we'll probably branch out into league characters eventually, but
Yeah,
for now,
for now, yes.
Because I have an app that has that on it, so that's great.
Okay.
Blank is the demon marauder, an outlaw hellion whom even other demons fear. A cosmic iconoclast, he stole from the demon lords, ignored the codified rights that should have bound his behavior, and broke every law of the 7 infernal regions. What is this lore? For his crimes, he was taught this lesson. Even hell has a hell. This is amazing. A short, brutal trial ensued, with many dead on all sides, and he was finally incarcerated in Foulfell, a hidden dimension where demonkind imprisoned their own. But Foulfell is no normal prison. In this dark mirror of reality, demons are sentenced to gaze eternally into the twisted reflection of their own souls. But instead of suffering, Blank made himself master of his own reflected worst self, a raging, thieving demon of unimaginable power. With his inner beast under sway, he destroyed the fractal prison walls and burst free to turn his terror loose on all creation. Brian Albert.
So I have 2 guesses, but I'm just going to go with Doom. Terrorblade.
Oh my god, it wasn't Doom or Terrorblade? Shadow Demon?
It was Terrorblade. It was Terrorblade. His lore has like the thing about like reflecting upon himself.
Yeah.
That was
that's
which is
a skill.
gave it away.
a skill.
And then terror at the end was like, all right, that's it.
Yeah. So that was Know Your Lore, Leah.
Okay.
James.
Nice.
I was going to get
Good.
Shadow Demon
James
as
is
my second one.
first time. He's 1-1.
Yay!
I know.
1-0 rather.
I have not read any lore. I know. I think a little bit about League lore, but not much.
Interesting. So I don't care. Like I don't care about lore of Dota at all. Like I don't care about the relationships between these characters. I don't care whose family. I don't like. It doesn't matter because even in the context of the fiction, it's like here's the dire side, here's the radiant side, and there are dire heroes and there are radiant heroes. But you can just
can
mix
play
them
on
up.
each
It
other's
doesn't matter.
side, yeah,
Right? Like
yeah.
there's no. I kind of wish there was a mode which was like a canonical mode where it's like you can only have dire heroes and you can only have
I
radiant
think in
heroes.
old Dota that was a thing.
Interesting.
I think I don't quote me on that, but I think
Okay.
something like that is like ringing some sort of bell
Got it.
back here. But I'm of the same mind. Like the lore seems like it could be cool in these games, but it's always
Yeah.
sort of falls to the wayside. And
I mean, we got a comic book. Like they did the Secret Shop comic online, and then they made it into a book, which we then like got as a gift at the shop when we bought stuff. And it's like it's fine. It's not interesting enough to like really warrant seeking out or anything. But it's like if you're super into Dota, that's fine. That said, like I don't care about Dota lore. I know a lot about Dota lore. Like I know about a lot of characters just because like I'll go to their page and try to look at their skills. And like, oh, Traxx the Drow Ranger was like a human who was abandoned by, and like, her family was killed by bandits. And then she was raised by the Drow, and now she's like ashamed of being a human. Like, okay, why do I know that?
Yeah.
What part of my brain's hard drive requires me to know that? Like, why don't I know like cooking recipes or medicine or like go to law school? Like, why? But here we are.
The League occasionally does like lore events, which I think cool. Like they'll have. With the release of the ARAM map, they did like
The Freljord.
Battle of the Freljord, and like
Ah.
they had it was the Battle of the Three Queens, which was Lysandra,
Ash.
Ash, and Sejuani.
Yep.
And it was like you could get points, and like the more you use a sigil, like one team won, and they got a skin or something, and
Cool.
that was kind of cool.
That's
like,
cool.
Doing things that like, hey, like you could. It doesn't have to be gameplay related. It can be like just outside game core
Yeah.
related. I think that stuff is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
and there's cute stuff in Dota where like Kunkka and Tidehunter have
Yep.
this like weird relationship where one of them I think Tidehunter killed Kunkka, and the whole point of Kunkka in the game is like that's the ghost of a dead pirate who like wants his revenge, and like his ult is the
Ghost ship.
destruction of his ship. The ghost ship is the destruction of his ship by Tidehunter, whose ultimate is him summoning this monster from the sea that killed Kunkka. And now
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, this is super interesting to me because
Yeah.
I know these characters and I can definitely see like that side of it too.
See,
like,
I love this stuff too. Like there was a Skywrath and Vengeful Spirit were in love before she
Mhm.
became the way she is. Like,
right.
See, and, like
I love
as
that
we
stuff.
as we talk about this, I find it fascinating, and I'm like, some of this fiction is cool. The Terrorblade lore, not so much. Like that's like there's a hell for hell. Get out of here. But there's enough interesting things about these characters that I like visually, that I like playing, that I like seeing interact. That's like, oh, like they have conversations with each other in the lane, and Lena and CM are sisters. Like there's things like that that are just fun to know, but aren't essential.
Yeah, there's a great infographic that always gets passed around in like the League subreddit of just all the relationships between every single character, and it's just lines everywhere.
Oh, man.
Because they're trying to tie and be like they're introducing a new character, and it's like okay, so
Where does he fit in?
Yeah, like they're enemies, but like they're like kind of have allegiance, but not really, and then eventually it changes because of like some in-game event, so it has to be all rewritten.
Interesting. I mean, the new League trailer that came out this week is like it has a bit of that, and I didn't know like. So I think who told me here that like they're brothers in that trailer and they're like working together to bring down the enemies. Like, what is that trailer called?
It's called A New Dawn.
A New
We're talking
Dawn.
about the new League of Legends cinematic trailer that was released on Tuesday this week. Big surprise. Riot didn't.
Out of nowhere.
Out of completely nowhere. Riot just, here you go, enjoy.
Made by
Blur,
people who made the
BioShock Infinite trailers, the Old Republic trailers,
any trailer
Batman
that
Origins
any
trailers.
trailer that you lose your mind, you're like, this is really cool.
And
That's
they
a
also made
gorgeous
the
CG trailer.
past League of Legends
Yeah.
trailer too, which was A Twist of Fate, I believe it was called.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was also really, really, really awesome. But this one, I really loved it. You guys were kind of on the fence about it, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really pretty, and I think like obviously like the animation is great. It's Blur. Blur does great work, and the fight scenes were really awesome, and it's just like a cool abstraction of the fights you see on the field where like yeah they're punching each other and stuff, but this has like I don't know the League characters' names well enough, but like the lion guy who's like bouncing through the trees. Rengar's bouncing through the trees chasing after somebody, and like the cowboy guy whose name I always forget.
Graves.
Graves shows up, and I'm like, yes, I love Graves. Graves is a really cool character, so he shows up, and I'm like, oh man, like minor fan service moment for me. But the beginning half of it is like weirdly uncomfortable to me.
Yeah.
Like it's a bunch of dudes seeking out beating the crap out of a bunch of women brutally in a way that is like so not like League of Legends, where somebody's burying a hatchet into someone's face.
And there's a little splurt of blood, and you're just
Yeah.
like, we were both like,
When
whoa.
someone's like lying on the ground, pool of blood, and she's like, you're
Leona.
watching her die. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
This is not what this game is.
These games feel. The word that came to mind was like cartoony, but that's not really right.
Sure, I mean it is violent. Like people are killing each other in this game, but
Right.
it's still like goofy.
But it's
and
like,
light.
Ursa's a big old bear, and he'll just hit you. But
Yeah,
he's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
ripping your intestines out or anything like that.
They're
You know?
they're not like I mean League is a little bit lighthearted, especially with characters like Annie and Teemo, but they never even when they're out there.
Annie is like a demonic child.
She's a goofy kid with a giant teddy bear. Like, Tibbers is this big dumb bear, just lumbers around. I mean, it's obviously it's all like has to do with like weirdly, like almost anti-Christian stuff a lot of the time, and then there's all these like weird demons who are killing stuff, and they have these weird messed up lores about murdering stuff and like just living these horrible lives. It is dark, but I don't know.
There was a little bit of like a game parallel where like they were kind of getting beat up, and at the very end I feel like all their ultimates came off cooldown, and then they all did all their
Yeah,
ultimates
yeah.
and just racked them.
That
Yeah.
was really good. It was like the biggest, most prolonged team fight ever.
Yeah.
Well, another way that I saw was that like the beginning of the trailer is like level 1, and they finally get to level 6 and
Yes.
get their ultimates.
Yeah, that's really
So-
cool. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so because for a lot of the trailer, like Ari's running away from everyone, and then at the end she just sort of like ultimates and
Yeah.
kills like a bunch of people, and it's so cool. She's
And then they
the
like
Fox
gaze
character.
at the ancient or
Oh,
whatever it's
yeah,
called, the
it's so
Nexus.
They're yeah.
Yeah,
I think there's also like a part of like, hey, we're putting out a new map, and like,
Yeah.
like it's a lot more, I don't know,
Jungly.
jungly, I guess. But like, I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's a cool trailer.
You definitely should look at it. It's on Arena.
Yep.
As well as the making of,
Yep.
which they always put out with these, which is
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
I will watch
Oh, I
Blur
totally
make.
will have to
I will
watch that.
watch Blur
Yeah.
make of that map. Yep.
Yeah, it's cool. They talk about sort of why they did it, and they said that Riot developers say that they did it so that you can learn more about the story of the characters, but you don't really learn.
They don't communicate any of that.
But another thing, further along in the behind-the-scenes video, they say, another thing that we really love is that, if you see Jax in the character and you play Jax, like that's really exciting, and that was 100% true. I play Jax top, like he's my go-to top character, and when I saw him in that video, I was like, oh, Jax, I love you. This is so cool. Oh my god. So I'm definitely on board with like that aspect of it, and I can see how that sort of makes my relationship with League a little bit stronger, seeing him in this sort of awesome epic light. And I felt the same way like seeing Annie in the past trailer. Like I love Annie, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that it's an interesting way for Riot to sort of give back to their fans also.
Yeah, they don't need to do this.
But yeah.
Why does Riot need to promote League of Legends?
But it was cool.
Yeah. I'm definitely. I mean, I think they'll probably keep making them. They turn them out like every 2 or 3 months, actually, or no, longer than that. It's like 6.
Okay.
But it's like, cool.
It's
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. Like if they keep on having ideas and can do cool stuff with it, like I guess it's just more like anime fight scenes.
They had a fun anime fight scene before Worlds last year with all of the like competing teams got like to be anime characters, and they were sort of like cosplaying as
That's
their
really funny.
sort
That's
of main
awesome.
character that they play, and it was so cool.
Skara as
I don't remember.
he is not. I'm gonna say Brewmaster, but it's not.
Was it Gragas?
It's Gragas. And he was doing the thing where he was throwing.
We've broken you.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Dota. Like, well, I mean, they're all kind of archetypes of the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like
It's super weird sometimes.
Someday we'll have Marty Sleeve on the show to play and name that Dota character.
Oh my god, that was one of my favorite Marty moments. Of him.
Marty's just like, it's not that hard, man. It's a fantasy game. Like I know what fantasy archetypes are.